So sustainable shark fisheries can and do exist. I'm going next week to the American Elasmobranch Society conference, the world's largest gathering of shark and ray scientists. If I were to say that sentence, people would wonder why I even bothered to say it because it's so obvious and everyone knows it. But if I were to tweet sustainable shark fisheries can and do exist, I would get death threats within an hour. I'm not kidding. This is a fake controversy spread by anti-science extremists, and it's an issue. I get death threats from environmental activists who want to ban all shark fishing, like, not irregularly. A 1998 paper reviewed all the available data on this and concluded, yes, sharks can be sustainably harvested and managed to support a sustainable fishery. This paper was co-written by my postdoc supervisor at Simon Fraser, Nick Dalvey. Every circle that you see here is a well-managed, sustainable shark or ray fishery. Yes, they can exist. Yes, they do exist. Here they are. This paper also found that a lot of the fisheries that are currently unsustainable can be made to be more sustainable. And they said that bans are going to help in some cases, but we can't just ban all shark fishing everywhere and have that be the case, because a lot of the developing world, that's an only source of income. Remember those fishermen in Indonesia that became human traffickers. How many of you use the Seafood Watch app or wallet card to determine your sustainable seafood when you're at the grocery store? If you're not, I encourage you to check that out. But these are consumer sustainable seafood guides. Yes, these are shark fisheries in the U.S. that they say are sustainable. Yes, sustainable shark fisheries can and do exist. I surveyed all the members of the American Elasmobranch Society during my PhD about this, and we found, so for those of you not familiar with interdisciplinary social science work, let me orient you to this graph here. That's 0, that's 1, that's percentage of respondents. A bigger bar means more people agree. There, you just got a crash course in interdisciplinary social science. Bigger bars mean more. Huge majorities of scientists believe sustainable shark fisheries can and do exist, which are factual questions. Yes, they can, and yes, they do. And 90% of the scientists in my field, and for those of you who are scientists, try getting 90% to agree on anything. 90% agree that sustainable fisheries exploitation, not bans, should be the goal of shark conservation whenever possible. I also asked these scientists about specific individual policies. These are the target-based ones. You'll see a lot of green. These are the limit-based ones. You see a lot more red. Limit-based policies got significantly more opposition and significantly less support than the target-based policies. Shark sanctuaries got a ton of opposition, which I still don't really understand where some of this came from. I think a lot of people didn't really know what it meant based on some of the comments they left. But this shark fin trade ban, I'm going to talk about a little more coming up, so I want to highlight here. That's the second most opposition, most red, and second least support, least green, among surveyed scientists. I will also note that about 55% of scientists do support it. So a majority did support it. But there's a huge difference between 99% support and 55% support. This is a less supported option. So what about the people who support these limit-based tools? They tend to do so for two reasons as well. One is personal values, which may or may not be cultural in nature. Some people say, I don't care if a fishery is sustainable. I love sharks. I don't want to see any shark hurt at all for any reason ever. And that's a perfectly valid viewpoint. I have no quarrel with that. I don't agree with it, but that's a perfectly valid viewpoint. In some cases, these arguments are cultural in nature. Particularly people from some South Pacific islands revere sharks, sometimes as the reincarnated spirits of ancestors who died at sea. Cultural values, I'm not touching that. Remember your Johnson et al. 2004. This is not the issue. The issue is people who claim to be speaking on behalf of science, and they misrepresent the science. This is a problem. There are people who say sustainable shark fisheries do not exist, cannot possibly exist, and should not be tried. And in one case, and all fishery that's impossible, and all fishery scientists agree. No, that's not true, and that's a problem.